Hello, how are you? My name is Ronnie, and I am instructor of the doctrine of Gnosis. I belong to an institution called Universal Christian Gnostic Movement of Peru, whose fundamental purpose is the dissemination of the Gnostic teaching. In this video, I will be reading you the first chapter of the Revolutionary Psychology book of the Venerable Master Samael Aumir. In this book, the author gives us a very clear guide and didactics that will lead us to a psychological world that will allow us a radical and background change that lead us to have a dignified and superior life. I thank you for your presence and I hope you enjoy the videos that will show you on this your solar teaching channel. Chapter 1 from the book Revolutionary Psychology of General Master Samael Auer. Chapter 1 The Level of Being. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? For what do we live? Why are we living? Unquestionably, the poor intellectual animal, mistakenly called man, not only does not know, but furthermore, he does not even know that he does not know. Worst of all is the situation, the strange and difficult in which we find ourselves. We ignore the secret of all our tragedies, and yet we are convinced that we know it all. Take a rational mammal, one of those who claims to be influential in life, into the middle of the Sahara Desert, living there, far away from any oasis, and observe what occurs. The facts will speak for themselves. The intellectual humanoid, though he presumes to be strong and believes himself very manly, really is frightfully weak. The rational animal is 100% foolish. He thinks the very best of himself. He believes he can develop wonderfully through kindergarten, manual of etiquettes, primary and secondary schools, graduation, university, and the prestige of fatherhood, etc. Unfortunately, in spite of so much education, good manners, titles, and money, we know very well that the stomach ache causes us grief, and that deep down we continue being unhappy and miserable. It is enough to read world history to know that we are the same barbarians as always, and that instead of improving, we have become worse. This 20th century, with all its spectacle, wars, prostitution, worldwide sodomy, sexual degeneration, alcohol, drugs, exorbitant cruelty, monstrosity, etc., is the mirror in which we must see ourselves. We have no reason, then, to boast of having reached a superior stage of development. To think that time implies progress is absurd. Unfortunately, the learned ignoramus continues to be trapped in the dogma of evolution. In all the dark page of our black history, we always find the same horrifying frailties, ambitions, war, etc. Nevertheless, our contemporary super-civilized society is still convinced that we hear about war is something minor, a fleeting accident that has nothing to do with our much-lauded modern civilization. Surely, what is important is the way each person is. Some people will be drunkards, others abstemious, some honorable, and others shameless. There is something of everything in life. The mass is the sum of the individuals. What the individual is the mass, is the government, etc. The mass is then the extension of the individual. The transformation of the mass of nation is not possible if the individual, if each person does not transform himself. Nobody can deny that different social levels exist. There are people of the church and of the brothers, of business and of the land, etc., etc. Thus also there are different levels of being. Whatever we are internally magnanimous or pitying, generous or mean, violent or peaceful, chastened or lustful, attracts the diverse circumstances of life. A lustful person always attracts the sins, dramas, and even tragedies of laziness, in which he will inevitably find himself involved. It is obvious that the drunkard will attract drunkards and will always find himself involved with pubs and bars. That is obvious. What will the usurer attract? The egotist, who many problems, prisons, misfortunes, embittered people, however, tired of suffering, want to change, to turn the page of their story. Poor people. They want to change and do not know how, do not know the procedure. They are stuck in a dead end street. What happened to them yesterday happens today and will happen again tomorrow. They always repeat the same errors and do not learn the lesson of life, not even when hit by a thunderbolt. Everything is their life is repeated. The same, the same things, do the same things, lament the same things. This boring repetition of dramas, comedies, and tragedies will continue as long as we carry in our interior all the indesirable elements of anger, greed, lust, envy, pride, laziness, gluttony, etc., etc. What is our moral level? Or better say, what is our level of being? The repetition of all our miseries, sins, misfortunes, and mishap will continue as long as our level of being does not radical change. All things, all circumstances that occur outside of ourselves on the stage of this world are without a station the reflection of what we carry within. With good reason, we can solemnly affirm that the exterior is the reflection of the interior. When we change internally and the change is radical, then the exterior circumstance life also change. All this time, I have been observing a group of people who have taken over a neighboring area. Here in Mexico, they call these people by the curious name of parachutists. They neighbor the Campestre Churubusco district, very near my house, and that is why I haven't been able to study them closer. To be poor is certainly not a crime, but the world problem does not consist in this, rather, in their level of being. They fight among themselves daily, get drunk, insult each other, murder the companion who shared their misfortunes, and live in filthy huts in which hatred reigns instead of love. Many times I have thought that if any of these individuals would eliminate from their interior hatred, anger, lust, slander, drunkenness, cruelty, egoism, calumny, envy, self-love, pride, etc., etc., other people would like them simply by the law of psychological affinities. They will begin to associate with more refined, more spiritual people. This new relationship will be definitive for economic and social change. The system will enable that individual to abandon the pity, the field deceiver. So if we really want a radical change, the first things we must comprehend is that each one of us, whether black or white, yellow or coppery, ignorant or erudite, etc., is in one level of being or another. What is our level of being? Have you ever reflected upon this? It is impossible to pass to another level if we ignore the state in which we find ourselves.